Yo, it's BDG Comics, and I'm Big Daddy Gibbs, and today I'm coming at you with my week in review for the new comic book day of April 27th. So, as those of you who collect comics know, it was a pretty stacked week as far as, all the options of new comics that you could read and pick up. I think in total I picked up about 16 books, 15 or 16. So I haven't actually read them all. I still have 3 more to go, but I'm probably not going to finish them today. So I wanted to go ahead and make this video before, tomorrow, a new comic book day. The 3 that I have not read yet, one I probably wouldn't have ranked anyways, just because it's a little different, and that's the Hulk Grand Design Madness. I'm really excited about that. I enjoyed the first issue. And curious to see, what happens in this one. I think it not takes place because it already all happened. It's like an anthology kind of thing where they just kind of go into Hulk's past, and I think this one takes place after the last one, as far as Hulk's lore and Hulk's past. And then other than that, I have not read these 2 yet. The Deathstroke number 8, so Shadow War Part 3. And Robin number 13, Shadow War Part 4. I'll probably read them tonight. Maybe I'll do like a comment or something down below and, see where I place them on this list. So other than that, I have a bunch of other things to go, or a bunch of other comics to go through. And like usual, I'm going to start from my least favorite and make it to my favorite. I gotta say though, all of these books were pretty good this week. I actually really enjoyed most everything that I read. There was a few things that I didn't really enjoy, but alright, now that I got them all ranked and sorted in my pile, here we go. From my least favorite to my most favorite for the week. Let's see, let me count to give you a number as well. So it looks like it's 11. And perfectly, because there was only one book this week that I didn't enjoy, at least somewhat, so for it to not make my top 10, I guess it's just fitting. And unfortunately, number 11 would be Sabertooth number 3. I like this cover a lot. Unfortunately, that's my favorite thing about the book. There's not a fan. I love Sabertooth, and he's like one of my all-time favorite Marvel villains, but it just doesn't do it for me. So I'm gonna read my notes on the back here. So there's some like unexpected Thomas Paine quotes and references in the book, which I thought was a little weird. Just unexpected, I guess. I mean, I don't really know the author. Victor Lavelle, I think is his name. This is the first comic book series that I've read from him. But yeah, generally, like, this doesn't even seem like a Sabertooth issue. The dude's in like maybe 10 panels total on the whole book. It just doesn't seem like a Sabertooth book, and I don't give a single shit about the rest of the characters in here. Yeah. Not a big fan of the artwork. It kind of reminds me of John Romita Jr., honestly, where it's like blocky and just overly cartoony. Not a big fan. I don't know what happened to that fun book they had with issue 1, but this one doesn't do it for me. I might actually drop the series, which makes me sad, because I know it's already a mini-series. I think it's only 5 issues, and I haven't enjoyed it since issue 1. So it might be a goner for me, depending on when issue 4 comes out, like how many other books there are. If I can stay in my budget and still pick it up, I might, but it's looking rough for Sabertooth. Alright, what do we got here? Number 10, Bloodstained Teeth. I love vampires, so I was really curious about this and was hoping to really enjoy it, but overall it just was kind of lackluster for me. The art was really good, and the colors were absolutely amazing in my opinion. I'm a sucker for colors. I like coloring, and that's going to be a kind of a theme going throughout here too. Let's see. The main character is Atticus Sloan, and he's like a vampire, but he's not one of the firstborn, I don't think. maybe he is a firstborn. I don't know, but he's going against the like law. Basically, there's a vampire law that says that they can't create new vampires. That basically humans turned into vampires, they call them sips, I think, are like an abomination and shouldn't exist. And he is going against them and actually turning his vampirism into a business. And he, charges humans to turn them into vampires, basically, for the powers, I guess, or maybe just the immortality. It's mainly focused on that. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It just was kind of lackluster, which is unfortunate because it sounds so interesting, but that issue was not very interesting. It was fine. All right, next we got Ghost Cage #2. I did like it. It was good. The art's amazing. Like, the artwork itself is amazing. I wish there was coloring because, like I said, I'm a sucker for coloring, good colors. But the artwork itself is like a really, really well done manga. And kind of the story too. Like, they have like this playful nature when it comes to telling jokes and storytelling, and like an over-the-top shonen kind of vibe to it. But it's not bad. I did get kind of lost. I actually had to look at, like, open up the first issue and kind of skim through it and reread a couple of the last pages to kind of catch myself back up and put myself back into that tower. But even with this issue, like, just on its own, like, it lost me. It lost me more than the first issue did. It was just bizarre and wild, and there's just crazy stuff happening. So once the last issue comes out, I'll probably read it all as if it was a collected edition, just because it's out there and it's just a wild, crazy story. I did not think that I was going to care about the main character, Doyle, but they did make me care about the character. That made me feel some sympathy for Doyle, so that was interesting. More than I expected, I guess, character-wise. And then in this issue, they battled fossil and wind energies, avatars, I guess you could call them. But it was pretty good. Just, it's crazy and it's out there. If you like wild, crazy stories and manga, Ghost Cage is for you. All right, and next I guess this is what, number 10, 9, 8? Really, 8? I thought it was going to be higher than that, to be honest. I actually really liked this. Amazing Spider-Man #1. All right, so basically, I'm not a huge fan of John Romita Jr., and this is my first book that I can think of that he's been on. Like I said before, in previous videos, I'm pretty new to comic book collecting, so I'm not as well versed on all the artists and authors and stuff like that, but I didn't like the art in this very much. There were some things that were really nice and really good panels, and then other times it was just not. It was like weird characterizations, and like there's this one guy who, like, half of his head looks really flat, and it just seems out of place. Like, he's not a human. He's like some kind of alien or creature or something, but he's a human in the story, but he's like blockhead, but half of his head is missing. So it starts off and Peter's like in this crater, and he's all like, his suit's all damaged and ripped up and torn, and it kind of looks like he was in the middle of a bomb or something. I'm not really sure what happened. Everyone's mad at him for like kind of bailing out on them or lying to them, or I'm not sure what happened. They don't really go into it and explain what exactly is going on, but MJ's mad at him, won't talk to him. His friend Randy, I think it was his name, won't talk to him, or wants to talk to him, but Peter's kind of brushing him aside and kind of being an ass, to be honest. It seems like he's kind of deserving of whatever hate and standoffness he's receiving from, his friends and family. yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes. It looks fun. Tombstone's clearly gonna be like the first villain. He basically says, you know, I'm coming after Spider-Man, and he's telling Peter, you know, I'm coming after Spider-Man, let him know. And that's kind of how it just sends you off. So it should be interesting, to be honest. I really did like the writing and the pacing of this issue. I do wish that, you know, we knew more about what happened and how far in the future we are, or any of that stuff. But I'm sure we'll find out and it'll all get cleared up. But I'm excited about it. I'm definitely going to pick up issue number 2 and continue on. Alright, next I got Cowboy Bebop, issue number 3 at number 7, I believe. It was probably the worst issue of the 3 so far. Not to say that it was bad, because the other 2 issues have been amazing. It just didn't do anything new, really. So you got the Bebop crew, and they tracked down all the noodles that they need, because they needed to track down noodles to trade them to this old man for this quantum vest. I guess they had kind of abandoned the plan to turn in the bounty, and instead were more focused on getting a vest of their own. So they got the vest, or they didn't get the vest, I'm sorry, they got the noodles, and then basically you get this chain of, like, this reaction of other bounty hunters coming after the Bebop crew. Like, first it starts off and there's these twins, they call them motor twins or something like that, and they're coming after the Bebop crew, and then you got this other bounty hunter and he's going after the twins who are going after Spike and the Bebop crew. So it's definitely entertaining, and it's got kind of like a cartoony plot device to it. So that's fun. And then, yeah, apparently the bounty hunter that overheard Spike talking to the crew in issue 2 turned around and killed the old man that had the second vest and stole it for himself. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in issue number 4. I would guess that, I mean, it's been pretty predictable so far, so I'm assuming that the crew's gonna go back to the planet. I forget what it was called, like Selene or something like that. And they're probably gonna bring the noodles and take them to the old man, and he's gonna be dead. And the vest is missing. I don't know. They shouldn't know who took it. So, yeah, we'll see. Cool story though. Like I've said before, if you're standing off or pushing yourself away from getting Cowboy Bebop, don't. It's very much like the anime, and it's not so much like the Netflix series, from my understanding. I haven't watched the Netflix series, but it's entertaining for sure, and it gives you that like crazy jazz vibe that the original series gives you. So pretty good stuff. All right, and then next we got Silver Surfer Rebirth at number 6. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, number 6 would be Silver Surfer Rebirth. Number 4, yeah, number 4. This was good. I like that they seem to have gone back to fun, because the second issue to me was not very fun, and then the third issue was like, okay, we're getting back, and then the fourth issue is fully like, hey, we're back to having fun. So there was really cool like opening panels and opening scene where you see like 4 older Silver Surfers, different colors, different like designs, and then also this current Silver Surfer, and they all have this big battle. Pretty entertaining stuff. And then Thanos comes in and kind of interrupts that battle and just basically ends the fight. That's all I'll really say. He beats the other Silver Surfers pretty handily and quickly, and then they escape. Let's see, and then we have Jack of Hearts show up, and he attacks Silver Surfer and Thanos, and they have this battle. But I don't think he's like mind controlled or anything, but he definitely gets like powered up by Tyrant, and then he gets, you know, there's a conclusion to that battle, and then it looks like Tyrant is going to step in, and there's going to be a fight there. So that should be fun. All right, and now we're down to my top 5. So number 5 is Vermilion, number 1. So this book is kind of explicit, as you see me covering up just the main cover. It's a good book, though. I don't think it's like, well, no, I lie. It's definitely 18 plus. It's definitely an 18 plus book. There is nudity, gore, violence, all that stuff. But it's not like violent. It's, I guess, sexually violent, but not, I don't know. It's hard to describe. So I'm just gonna stop trying to describe it that way. So it's definitely explicit. It's interesting. The lyrics are of Vermilion Part 1 and Part 2 from Slipknot are kind of like the focus and the inspiration that the author drew. You know, his muse was those two songs. So it's got this girl, she's kind of like a goth alt girl. She's not a demon like I thought she was going to be based on the cover. I thought she was going to be like a demon chick, but she's not. Her name's Persephone. She's just like a goth girl. And she goes through a really bizarre sexual encounter with what seems to be the reader. And then maybe turns out to be herself. I think it's just all kind of up to your own interpretation, but it seems like it's a suicide. And that's really all I'm going to say about that. It was interesting for sure. Very well done book and art and everything. I think it's just a one shot. Maybe there's going to be a second one since there's 2 parts of the song, but I don't think so. Like I said before, coloring, it's not here. There's some red because it's like black, white, and red. It's inking. It's just black ink, and then it uses like some red inks sometimes, and then I think there's some red coloring kind of splashed in a little bit, but it's definitely not a colored book. It's a black and white book with just some red. But the art was really, really good. Yeah. All right, what do we got next? At number 4, we got Rogue Sun number 3. So in this one, you get a lot of character development between Dylan, the guy who is now Rogue Sun, and his half-sister, and also half-brother, the younger kid. What's his name? I think he's on here. Brock, that's his name. So Brock, you get some kind of extra development between those 2, well, those 3 as a trio. Not so much Brock and his sister. What was her name? Ari. Ari is her sister. Aurie. Ari. So you get some interaction between, you know, brother and sister, and then brother and brother. So that's interesting and entertaining for sure. And it seems like Dylan is already starting his redemption arc. He seems to be trying to help out as much as possible, and then also he told Brock that once he's fulfilled his duty, he is basically gonna offload the Rogue Sun power to Brock. And then we get a very interesting conclusion in this issue, where it looks like our main villain is gonna be someone who you don't expect. That's all I can say. I don't want to spoil it because it's a cool ending. All right, and then at number 3, I got Action Comics number 1042. We are steadily approaching the end of the World Revolution. The revolution actually finally begins in this issue, or is at least started. It looks like it's actually going to be in the next issue, is what they're saying in the solicitations or whatever. It says the revolution begins or something in the next issue, but it pretty much started in this issue. First off, Riccardo Federici, his art is just phenomenal. He's a godlike artist, so good. let's see, Omak turns on him, and then you have a solid Mongol versus Spider-Man kind of interaction, showdown. It was really good issue, fun. I like where they're featuring Lois and John as well, John Kent. Fun stuff for sure. Definitely worth a read. I don't know why more people aren't reading Action. At least I hear that the numbers are bad, but it's been really good. I really like this War-World saga thing that's going on, and the artwork has just been incredible. I still don't care about that Martian Manhunter backstory. Just give me more filler for the main story, and we'll be good. All right, at number 2, Death of the Justice League. Justice League number 75. As a caveat, I'm not reading Justice League, but I think they do a pretty good job in this one of catching you up, or at least starting from a baseline that can put you comfortably in the Justice League run, because you get all the characters, and they don't seem to expect you to know anything. At least for my instance, I didn't know anything. I didn't know who the Justice League roster was, other than I assumed, the main 3 and then a couple of others. And I wasn't really wrong, but there was more characters than I expected, and characters that I didn't know or had no idea about anything about, and I didn't feel lost or confused or anything. I know a lot of people say that they're down on this book. They don't like it. But I don't care. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a solid introduction. And then Rafa Sandoval's art is incredible. Not as good as Federici's, I don't think. But almost on par. Like, it's really, really good. Really good stuff. Like I said, I don't know a lot about several of the characters, but I didn't feel like lost or confused or anything like that. I am interested to know like the origins of this Captain Carrot, I think is his name. I saw him in the Justice League, or not Justice League, the DC like bracket thing, voting for that next series. I saw Captain Carrot and I was like, what is this joke character or whatever? But then he's in here, so that's interesting. I guess he's a current member of the Justice League. So that's fun. There is a cool death scene in here where you get like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and they're vaporized or whatever. But the way they did the art and the design of the paneling almost seems like maybe they didn't die, that they were like transported somewhere or something. Their flesh basically disintegrates off their bones, but the paneling design, they like take a panel by panel by panel by panel, and then like it kind of just trails off. And I don't know, it just gives me that vibe of like maybe they got teleported or transported somewhere, but they definitely died, at least in this on this earth, in this reality. I don't think there's gonna have any implications on like the other series, like Action or Detective or Batman, or maybe not even like Superman, Son of Kal-El, Robin, anything like that. I don't think it's going to have any implications on that. I think it's just kind of meant to be its own standalone little event. But I'm definitely digging it, and I'm going to give this event a go. And my number 1 book. I'm missing a book. I totally forgot a book. That's funny too, because it's probably like, ooh, it's probably my number 2. So shift everything down 1. It looks like Sabertooth, number 3. You aren't alone in missing out on top 10. I actually had 12 books, and who did I put with or after Sabertooth? It was Bloodstained Teeth. You are now pushed out of the top 10. Alright, so I'm just going to go for this book next, and I'll say number 2. Because it's definitely somewhere between 1 and 3. Number 2, Dark Knights of Steel number 6. I don't have really much to say. I love this series. It's my favorite series that I'm reading so far. Series as a whole, not necessarily favorite book, but series as a whole. Great stuff. So you get a big Constantine feature in this. You get a lot of Timothy Drake. I guess he was employed as a spy by the Elves, and he's spying on I think they call it the Kingdom of Storms or something like that. Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning's kingdom. That's where he was spying, and it came out in this issue, and he was basically attacked by the guards of the family and Jennifer, the younger daughter of Jefferson, and then basically banished. They didn't kill him because John Constantine stopped Jennifer from killing him. Basically, she said don't stoop to his level or their level. So he got banished, and then he reported to the Elves, what happened. He basically kind of ratted out Zala in front of everybody, basically saying that she murdered Jefferson and the kid. Well, I think she focused on Jefferson Pierce, the king, said that, Zala murdered him. And it seems like there's like I don't know. They're just not believing it. Some of them are believing it and some of them aren't. Like Harley Quinn seemed to believe it, but she's just a court jester, so she's not really going to be able to do anything. Superman doesn't seem to believe it. And then Laura, I think it's Laura, right? That's her name? Yeah, Laura. Superman's, mother. Seems to maybe believe it, or that it could have happened. But she's at least more willing to listen, but she doesn't want people putting her daughter's name under, basically. And then you have the knight. What's Waller? I think General Waller is what her name was. Basically, like, whispered into the Queen Lara's ears and said, we can kill Hippolyta before the Amazonians join the Kingdom of Storms in their war against us. So it looks like they're plotting to kill Hippolyta. Maybe it didn't say that Lara went through with that plan or was going to take that into consideration, but Superman had already left. He'd already left the court, and he was flying to Amazonia and have a confrontation or some kind of encounter to speak with Hippolyta. He asked for her, and then she stabbed him and imprisoned him. And then while he's locked in the dungeon or whatever, chained up, Lois comes to talk to him, and that's where they meet. So very interesting stuff. Batman is missing, but we know where he is. He's with Martha Kent. So, and it's fun. It's definitely a fun series, and I can't wait till the next book. But I am sad that there are not going to be any more of these Josh Middleton covers. Sad face. But I'm sure I know I've seen the number 7 cover, and it looks pretty incredible, so I might be getting the main cover for the first time. It's got, if you haven't seen it, it's got Batman riding a green dragon, and they've hinted towards the Teen Titans, so speculation that Beast Boy is a freaking dragon. That's pretty sweet. And my number 1 book of April 27th, New Comic Book Day week, Carnage number 2. I love Carnage, and they're doing him justice here. This is a very introspective book for what you would expect from Carnage. It's really cool to see him and the serial killer and them kind of hashing it out and just figuring out why they do what they do, and the book's all about like transformation and killing to become new or become something new. Like obviously if you killed somebody, it's going to change you, right? Well, that's kind of like what they're delving into, and they're saying that, you know, the changes are going to be positive in their light or in their eyes. So it's interesting. This is a really, really interesting book. So the serial killer that he's following around is named Kenneth, and he really wants to be like worthy of Carnage, and he wants to be the host. And then in this issue, like this cop comes through. I got his name in here. It's John Shade. The cop is John, and it looks like he's gonna take down Kenneth, shoot him, and, you know, apprehend him or whatever. And then Carnage kind of like basically just gets in the way and harms John, but also like invades his mind. He like leaves a little piece of Carnage behind or something inside of him. And so now John and his partner are, seems like they're gonna continue going after Kenneth. They know that it's him as the serial killer, but now they have this extra piece of information, and they know that it's Carnage, or they know that it's a symbiote that seems to be kind of the root of the cause, which it's not. It's Kenneth's fault. He's a serial killer, a psychopath, but it's just Carnage is involved. Yeah, basically that's it. It's all about like killing and embracing the changes that murdering someone is going to do to you, but embracing it. Really interesting. And Carnage is awesome. So I love the design of Carnage in this book. It's really cool design. The art's amazing. Color's amazing. Check it out. It's really good. All right, that wraps up my comic book breakdown for the week of April 27th, 2022. Let me know in the comments below what books you really liked and what books you didn't like so much. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Put your D in my subscribe button. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time.